The Duggar family spent nearly 2 decades as one of America's most recognized families. 19 children, a television empire. A public image built on faith, family values, and the kind of wholesome togetherness that millions of viewers found compelling and comforting. Behind that image, a pattern has been emerging for years that no amount of carefully managed public relations has been able to contain. In March 2026, Joseph Duggar, 31, was arrested on felony charges involving the alleged molestation of a 9-year-old child during a 2020 family vacation in Panama City, Florida. His wife, Kendra, 27, was arrested separately 2 days later on charges related to child endangerment and false imprisonment. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the parents whose names became synonymous with a particular vision of Christian family life, released a statement saying they are heartbroken over this entire situation. This documentary video is not about sensation, it is not about clicks, it is about facts. About context, about what the public record shows, and what it means. Viewers who need context, the Duggar family rose to national prominence through their long-running TLC reality series, which began as a series of specials in 2004 before becoming the regular 19 Kids and Counting. Jim Bob Duggar, a former Arkansas state legislator, and his wife Michelle built their public identity around their conservative Christian faith, their large family, and their adherence to the Quiverful movement, a religious philosophy that encourages large families as a form of Christian witness. The family's television presence made them one of the most recognized households in America for nearly a decade. They were celebrated by millions of viewers who admired their apparent commitment to faith and family. Joseph Duggar, born January 20th, 1995, is the sixth of Jim Bob and Michelle's 19 children. He married Kendra Caldwell in 2017. Together they have 5 children. The family's public image began to fracture publicly in 2015 when it was revealed that eldest son Josh Duggar had molested multiple underage girls as a teenager, including several of his own sisters. TLC canceled 19 Kids and Counting following those revelations. Josh Duggar was later arrested in 2021 on federal charges of receiving and possessing child sexual. He was convicted in December 2021 and sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in federal prison. Joseph Duggar's arrest in March 2026 marks the second time a member of the Duggar family has faced serious criminal allegations involving children. The charges against Joseph Duggar are serious and specific. According to public court records, Joseph Duggar faces felony charges in Florida of lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim under 12 years of age, and lewd and lascivious behavior. The allegations stem from a 2020 family vacation in Panama City Beach, Florida. The alleged victim was a 9-year-old girl at the time of the alleged incident. Joseph Duggar was arrested on March 18, 2026 in Arkansas based on a warrant issued by the state of Florida. He subsequently waived his right to an extradition hearing and was transferred to Florida custody on March 27, 2026. It is important to state clearly, as any responsible reporting must, that these are allegations. Joseph Duggar has not been convicted of these charges. He is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. What is not in dispute is that a child reported an experience serious enough to result in felony charges being filed. That child, now several years older, and their family deserve privacy, dignity, and the full protection of the legal process. The victim is at the center of this story. Not the Duggar family name, not the television legacy, the child. Separate from the Florida charges, Joseph Duggar also faces charges in Arkansas. He faces 4 counts each of second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor and second-degree false imprisonment in Tontitown, Arkansas. These charges are distinct from the Florida allegations and involve separate circumstances. Joseph and Kendra Duggar are scheduled to appear in an Arkansas court on April 29, 2026, regarding these child endangerment and false imprisonment charges. The full details of the Arkansas charges have not been publicly disclosed at the time of this recording. 2 days after Joseph's arrest, on March 20, 2026, Kendra Duggar was also arrested. She faces 4 misdemeanor counts of endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 misdemeanor counts of false imprisonment in Arkansas. A family spokesperson was explicit in stating that Kendra's charges are totally unrelated to Joseph's alleged crimes in Florida and that she is not suspected of participating in those alleged acts. Kendra Duggar was released on bail shortly after her arrest. She is scheduled to appear in Arkansas court on April 29, 2026, alongside Joseph regarding the Arkansas charges. The couple's 5 children are at the center of the Arkansas proceedings, though the specific details of what those charges allege have not been fully disclosed in public court documents available at the time of this recording. March 30th, 2026, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar released a statement through a spokesperson. The statement said they are heartbroken over this entire situation. It said their immediate focus is on loving their family and helping Kendra and her children during this difficult time. It said they are praying for the victim, and it requested privacy. These are the words of parents facing an almost unimaginable situation, a second son facing serious criminal allegations involving children within a decade. It is worth noting what the statement does and does not say. It acknowledges heartbreak. It centers Kendra and the children. It mentions the victim, and the praying for the victim is a meaningful acknowledgement that a real child has been hurt. The statement does not do is address the broader pattern. The questions that have followed this family for over a decade about how allegations involving children were handled within the family's private structures, questions about accountability and transparency that have never been fully answered. Those questions remain, and they are legitimate. Several of Joseph's siblings have spoken publicly in the days following his arrest. Jill Duggar, who was herself one of the victims of her brother Josh's childhood abuse, expressed heartbreak and condemnation of the alleged action. Ginger Duggar and Joanna Duggar also expressed their own heartbreak publicly. These statements from siblings, particularly from Jill, who has been publicly open about the impact of abuse within the family, carry significant weight. They signal something important, that within the Duggar family itself, there are members who are unwilling to minimize or excuse serious allegations involving children, who understand from deeply personal experience what it means when a family member causes this kind of harm, and who are willing to say publicly that it is wrong. That is not nothing. That is, in fact, meaningful. No responsible documentary treatment of Joseph Duggar's arrest can ignore the broader context. This is the second time in less than a decade that a Duggar son has faced serious criminal allegations involving children. Josh Duggar's 2015 revelations and his subsequent 2021 federal conviction raised profound questions about how the family handled abuse allegations internally, about whether the structures of accountability within their particular religious community were adequate, about whether a culture of protection of the family name took precedence over the protection of children. Those questions were never fully resolved, and Joseph Duggar's arrest, with its allegations dating back to a 2020 family vacation, raises them again. It is important to be clear about what this pattern does and does not tell us. It does not tell us that Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar bear legal responsibility for their adult son's alleged actions. It does not tell us that every member of the Duggar family is implicated in Joseph's alleged behavior. What it does raise, as a matter of legitimate public concern, is a question about systems, about whether the combination of religious isolation, large family structure, limited external accountability, and a pattern of internal handling of serious allegation created conditions in which children were not adequately protected. That question, asked carefully and without accusation beyond what the evidence supports, is a question that journalists, advocates, and communities of faith have a responsibility to keep asking, because at the center of all of it, there are children. Real children, whose well-being is the only thing that ultimately matters in the story. As of the recording of this video, here is where things stand. Joseph Duggar has been transferred to Florida custody to face the felony charges there. Both Joseph and Kendra Duggar are scheduled to appear in Arkansas court on April 29, 2026, regarding the child endangerment and false imprisonment charges. The legal process is ongoing. No verdict has been reached. Joseph Duggar is presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. The alleged victim in the Florida case, now several years older than they were at the time of the alleged incident, deserves the full protection of the legal system. Their identity has not been publicly disclosed and should not be. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar have requested privacy. Several siblings have spoken publicly, and the broader public, which followed this family for nearly 2 decades on television, is processing another chapter in a story that has become, over time, something very different from the wholesome family portrait it was originally presented as. The Duggar family built their public identity on a particular vision of faith and family. That vision, whatever its merits and whatever its flaws, is now inseparable from a pattern of serious criminal allegations involving children that cannot be minimized or explained away. There are things this story demands of all of us who engage with it. It demands that we keep the victim, the 9-year-old child who reported what happened to her in Panama City Beach in 2020, at the center of our concern. It demands that we resist the temptation to reduce this to entertainment, to clicks, to the kind of engagement that treats real human suffering as content. It demands that we ask honest questions about systems and structures, religious, familial, cultural, that may have contributed to conditions in which children were not adequately protected. And it demands that we allow the legal process to function, presuming innocence where it is legally required, while never losing sight of the fact that at the heart of these allegations is a child who deserved protection. The Duggar family is heartbroken. That heartbreak is real, and it is understandable. But the child at the center of this story deserves more than heartbreak. She deserves justice.